Good morning, Your Excellencies. There's still a few people left, which is good. Guys, we still have an audience, which is either good or bad, but no, inshallah, it'll be a very good session. Thank you for attending. My name is Yassine Bhatti. I'm one of the senior directors here at ADGM Academy. It gives me great pleasure and an honor to be here and to introduce Ryan Taylor from Brevin Howard and Hassan Al-Fardan from Al-Fardan. A name synonymous within the region, a name that we all know, and those who have lived here for a long time have literally grown up with. So welcome to the stage.
I'm honored, thank you.
Today we're going to talk about how to offer practical insights into launching a growing career in Abu Dhabi's financial economy and market sector. Yesterday, were you both here yesterday? You both attended, you saw the launch, our chairman talking about how Abu Dhabi has grown. The people that are visiting Abu Dhabi for the first time, it's a dynamic place to be. It's a dynamic place to be in. So I have questions for you, which I'll sort of start right now. But Ryan, I know this is something that is close to your heart as well. Let's get the boring stuff out of the way, the legal stuff. In terms of the regulatory environment, can you offer insights into the legal framework and regulations governing the financial industry that are set by the central bank? And also within ADGM as well, knowing that your organization has recently moved here as well.
You say that's the boring bit. One of my titles is Group Head of Compliance for Brevin Howard, so it's part of my job, so it's very important. The very first time I came to Abu Dhabi was the very first Abu Dhabi Finance Week, which was 3 years ago now. And the rationale for me coming was because we decided we were going to set up something in the region somewhere, and we needed to decide where we were going to go. We came to Abu Dhabi. Alan Howard, owner of Brevin Howard, had already been here. He'd met the leadership, and he was phenomenally impressed, and so he said, you need to go to Abu Dhabi. I'd never been to Abu Dhabi before, so it was a hell of a learning experience. And what better?
How many years ago was this now?
This was 3 years ago,
okay,
so
right.
two and a bit or
right.
whatever. But yeah, it was as I say, the first Finance Week. If ever you're going to come to Abu Dhabi, come during Finance Week and with the Grand Prix and everything. If it's your first experience, it's a wonderful experience to have because it's phenomenally busy, but you will meet everybody. In and around. So I came, I was blown away. I met the ADGM team, I met the FSRA when we're talking about regulators, and we decided we were going to, well, it was Alan's decision, not mine, that we were going to open up in Abu Dhabi. So that was the 16th, no, that was in November then, because it was before the Grand Prix moved. And we then decided we were going to open up a business here. We launched the application on the 16th of December. I'm getting to the regulation. And we were then fully licensed and operational on the 1st of February. And the speed and turnaround of that was phenomenal and was a ringing endorsement of what the leadership has done here in Abu Dhabi itself, because all of the relevant parties all work together in order to succeed in relation to our application, for which we were very grateful. But it's synonymous with the reason why we're here, which is there's a real vision as to what Abu Dhabi needs to be, what it is, what it needs to be, and what it will become in the future. And part of that is creating a phenomenal opportunity within finance. And only having been here for 2 and a bit years myself, the changes which I've seen in that time are just phenomenal, and they almost beggars belief. But what you have now in Abu Dhabi is an absolute ecosystem of what the world's global financial markets actually are. And so you have the asset managers such as ourselves who are increasingly coming here in size. Not that many of the size which we've got, but that's because we've got first mover advantage, I think. But lots and lots of people are coming in size. You've got all of the service providers, be it the law firms, the accountancy firms, the administrators, and you've got the banks who are increasingly also moving here in size as well. And that is illustrated by the fact that the ADGM had to move not move, but increase in size purely from the Almarai Island to obviously Al Reem. So they've increased 10 times in size from a landmass perspective. And some people are thinking, wow, that's never going to be full up. I think it will be. And it's a question of time as to which is the next island which the ADGM will take over. But in answer to your question, very long answer to your question, the reason why we're here is because of the ecosystem which is built, it's because of the regulators, it's because of the dynamic approach which is taken by the ADGM, the FSRA, the registrar, the fact that you have English law here and everything else. And it's one of many factors, but it's one of the most important factors as to why we located here, but also why we've grown here. So in the close to 2 years now that we've been established, we've gone from me as effectively the first employee to over 100 employees. We have a floor in one of the towers. We're looking for more floor space because we're looking to double our footprint here. And the reason why we can do that is because of the opportunity set which is here, which I'm sure we will come to in due course. But
excellent, thank you. Hamad, our chairman, will be happy with all the good things that are going on in terms of the regulation authority, which he's CEO of.
Yep.
So it's good to hear that this has all come together very quickly and smoothly. Because certain changes can obviously take a long time, and I know Brevin Howard also has international offices around the world as well. Hassan, from your side, as a well-established family business, are there challenges that you've seen in setting up the business and how your business has changed from maybe first place or first store to where you are today?
Sure. I think as a private sector Emirati business, we need to recognize the importance of actually firstly acknowledging that there's going to be quite significant disruption with a lot of the AI technology that we're seeing. So, the kind of skills and expertise that were nice to have, 2-3 years ago are now absolutely essential. So we have to think about constantly what are we doing internally, firstly to upskill ourselves. We can't expect to lead, I would say, the business during such a changing, rapid digital environment without developing key competencies and key knowledge ourselves, and actually bringing on board the right skill set to be able to guide us through this, and making sure that we are training our talent, especially our Emirati talent, to be able to have minimum core competencies to deal with the changing environment. I mean, I'm a big advocate of getting certifications, whether it's the CFA, whether it's the FRM, and we're keeping a very close eye, actually working with a number of institutions to actually certify some of our talent in AI in particular. If you don't prepare yourself for this incoming disruption, and potentially the benefits of it, if you take on board the benefits, the reduction in expenses, the turbocharging of your core competencies, you risk being left behind, and you risk being I would say negatively impacted by the lack of your ability to take on some of these technologies.
Not to put you on the spot, but you mentioned the development of Emirati talent,
yes,
which, again, is very, very close to all of our hearts, yes, here, regardless of the organizations that you work in. Are you able to share any examples that you can think about where you've taken any Emirati talent and sort of walked them through and guided them and developed them through the pipeline within your organization?
Sure, we have
apart from yourself.
No, of course. we have a non-for-profit, I would say, banking institute, Al Fardan Training Banking Institute, and one of the pillars that we're trying to set up within the institution is to develop key competencies in fintech. How can we take our traditional core business offering? How can we adapt some of the technologies that we've seen around the world? And how can we train our Emirati, I would say, skills, or Emirati candidates to actually, rather than having to rely on people outside of the UAE with various expertise, why don't we have them drive the change? Why don't we have them change or adopt some of these technologies? One of the nice, I would say, tools that we're working on internally in Al Fardan, and Al Fardan Exchange in particular, is that we deal with a lot of unbanked customers. People that, for instance, sometimes struggle with basic, I would say, spoken literacy. They struggle a little bit with digital technology. They may struggle to type, into keyboards. So with the help of some of our Emirati candidates, we're working to develop an AI tool that will actually simplify the entire remittance process. So it's really as simple as, you pick up the phone, you hit the AI chatbot, and you speak to it, say, I want to send X amount of money. Where do you want to send it? I want to send it to this country, to this individual. And that's all without really having to actually input any kind of key data into the into the app.
So they're helping with the user experience
Absolutely.
from a sort of a back end, but also you're empowering them to develop that to make a difference and to make a change.
The beauty of some of this upcoming AI technology is that you don't necessarily have to be a coder yourself. You know, you can work with the tool to actually help you achieve the required development in the back end, whereas you spend the majority of your time focusing on optimizing that customer experience.
Excellent, excellent. And I know this topic of AI is close to your heart as well. I know it's something that you hold very closely to your chest. In terms of emerging trends that you see within your world, within the financial sector, maybe Ryan, I'll come to you as well, in your world as well, what are they? Where were you yesterday and where are you today and where do you think it will be tomorrow?
You have to recognize the positive potential, I would say, or the kind of uplift you can get from deploying a lot of AI tools. You know, I can bore you to death on the benefits that you get on efficiency and speed and accuracy, and really amplifying your core processes. You know, you have to start by focusing on your core processes. You know, from the back end operation to the customer engagement. So really finding ways to actually optimize and really magnify what you're currently doing. Any kind of AI or machine learning capabilities have to be built on solid processes. So really, it's us going back to our grassroots and saying, okay, are we doing things in the optimal way, or is there area for us to improve? And working with a large language model and developing our own I would say functionalities that are supported by these models. And you know, I take on board some of the conversations we had prior to me, sitting with you gentlemen here. That you have to be willing to make mistakes. You have to recognize that you are going to hit a lot of walls. Even the most sophisticated large language models eventually will get to the point whereby they can no longer compute beyond a certain point without getting very significant levels of errors. So you have to be ready to experiment. You have to be willing to lose money in the process, but ultimately taking those learnings and transforming that into something that is eventually workable and scalable.
We as the Academy, we've had a lot of opportunity to work with Ray Dalio, and you saw the launch, and he talks a lot about making mistakes. He wasn't born into the money. He made a lot of mistakes before he got to the position that he was. Ryan, not mistakes that you made. No, not mistakes.
Ryan, you're going to have to compete now.
Not to say that it was a mistake.
With Ray Dalio, good luck.
But going on what Hassan has just talked about, is there anything sort of in your world that you can talk about in terms of trends, yesterday's trends, today's trends, and where the organization that you represent is moving forward in that area?
Yeah, sure. So 100% agree. Technology is the way of the future. AI is something which you either embrace or it will destroy you. But that makes it sound like a threat. It's not. It's something which people need to use to enhance their skill set, their opportunities, and we look at the same way as an organization. So we have an AI working group which has constituent members of all of the relevant teams, be it trading, be it research, be it compliance, legal risk, etc. Not just to assess what we can do from an investment management perspective, which is obviously central to what we do, but how we can also improve our finance function, our compliance function, our legal function. But what we're being very careful in is to try to minimize the mistakes, because when we make mistakes, it's not our money, it's our clients' money, and we don't like to lose our clients' money. So we're using it as a tool, just like many other tools, to enhance what we do and to help facilitate what we do. What we won't do is we won't leave AI to go and make the investment decisions on its own, because that, at this point in time, would be stupid, and we don't want to be stupid. So we use it as a tool, we use it as a data set, and we're increasingly making sure that all of our employees are cognizant of that tool and the resource available in relation to it, and are using it to enhance their own productivity.
Excellent, excellent. So we've talked about technology, we've talked about sort of the history and things like that. So in terms of this ever-changing marketplace that we have, and everybody wanting and vying for the same position that organizations open up to, in terms of challenges that you see, Hassan, maybe in your organization, from the competitive job market to culturally adapting to many, many areas, but also managing that work-life balance that all organizations right now are talking about. How do you see this? How do you circle into those three areas there from your area and your role as CEO?
Work-life balance is one of the things that I think you have to really delve quite deep into, right? So long as you're clear on the direction that you're going, that the work that you're doing is making I would say, an impact on the economy and then on people's lives. Unless you've got real purpose into what you're doing, then how do you get up in the morning and how do you incentivize yourself to do the things that you like to do? So having meaning, I would say, and having a clear direction and vision that's really consistent with your values, I think is very, very important. And also making sure that whenever we start the year, I would say with a new strategy and a new budget or a new vision, that we bring people along the way with us. I like to create environments or ecosystems for people to thrive, and communicating that, I think earlier on is actually quite important for bringing people along the journey with you. And what we do really impacts the lives of millions of people around the world. I mean, had it not been for institutions like us, many foreign expat workers would not be able to send money safely and securely to their families overseas. We follow very closely a lot of the trends and changes that happen globally, and it's incumbent upon us, I think, to prepare ourselves for that change. One of the big concerns that we see with AI adoption in particular is that it's going to make a lot of traditional jobs essentially become redundant. So A, how are we training and upskilling our people to be able to go through that change? And B, and for those that are going to be left behind, what are we going to do to try to help them to actually reintegrate into their economy, into the economy, either this economy or their economies back home in a seamless way? So while there is significant importance in adapting to the change, it's also important to recognize that we have a moral obligation to reskill the people that will otherwise be losing jobs.
Excellent, thank you. Now, when we were prepping for this, you said that your wife said you don't have a work-life balance. But in terms of your organization, Ryan, that, like you said, you've been here for the last couple of years, but as a multinational organization, in terms of culturally adapting to the landscape of this region, how do you go about that? What is it that Brevin Howard does that makes it so different maybe from other organizations, that somebody wanting to work, coming to work, looking to apply to work within this market would want to come and work there? This is not a plug for Brevin Howard, this is just a question there.
So we very much want to, part of the reason why we're here is to be a partner with Abu Dhabi and to help develop the financial sector for ourselves and also for Abu Dhabi as well. So what we've been looking to do is partner up with organizations such as the ADGM Academy, with some of the local universities. We recently ran an internship program where we had 10 interns from NYU and Khalifa University who came in, and they did a phenomenal job, and they learnt a lot and we learnt a lot from them. 2 of those interns are coming back to our graduate program, which we're running locally here as well. Again, we have a global program, but we're looking to do a local subset of that as well. And a really important part of that is exactly the point you're raising, which is understanding the local culture. We'll only ever be able to do that properly if we have Emiratis and other GCC nationals working and be fully embedded within our organization. We will become a stronger organization for that, and hopefully we can also contribute something to the ADGM and Abu Dhabi as a whole as well by training people in what we do, so that they can use that to further their own careers and obviously help develop the financial sector here too.
Excellent. Last question, because I'm conscious of time. So in terms of next steps and career pathways, we talked about continuous education, which from our side, it's very close to our hearts. If I was going back to a young Hassan before he left for university in the UK, and a young Ryan who before he joined the Bank of England on the internship program, what advice would you give to yourselves if you were now looking back and thinking, right, I'm going into this particular area, this particular industry?
I would say feed your intellectual curiosity without fear. Anything that you find, that interests you, or things that perhaps, you don't necessarily feel that you know enough about, just feed it. Feed it. That would be the biggest
Feed the mind.
Advice. Feed the mind, yes.
Yeah, be curious.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Excellent. Ryan?
I'd have moved to Abu Dhabi sooner. It's a fair point. take every opportunity which presents itself to you. Seize those opportunities and run with them. What I would say, though, is that it's different to our day. I think, certainly my day, I'm older than you, there is so much opportunity and information available now, be it online, through AI, through all of these other technological solutions, which simply wasn't available in my day. So take those opportunities, grasp them, run with them, make yourself a better person.
Excellent. Gentlemen, unfortunately, we're out of time. I know we could talk forever with regard to this amazing topic. Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening. Gentlemen, thank you for your time.
Pleasure.
We talked a lot. We talked about empowerment. We talked about cultural diversity. We talked about thirst for knowledge and having that thirst for knowledge as well in terms of wanting to come to this sector. But I think also it's a passion and desire that you need to have to work, and you work very hard to get the results that you fully deserve. Ryan, Hassan, thank you very much.
Pleasure.
Thank you.